Thanks for letting me come on, Justin.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna a quick 15-minute time block here. Without any further ado, we're gonna check right in as it goes quicker than you think. But I'm gonna read your bio. I'm gonna ask you a series of questions for all the students watching around Western Mass.
Awesome.
So we have Mike Taylor, CEO of TaylorMade Communications. Mike graduated from Howell Cheney Technical High School in Manchester, Connecticut, and Connecticut Business Institute. Mike loves sales and is a passionate entrepreneur. He has extensive experience in talent acquisition, sales, leadership, and development. He became a CEO of TaylorMade Communications in 2015. He also enjoys volunteering as a Little League coach in his spare time. Well, Mike, first question for you is, just read a little bit about your career, but can you share more in depth your career pathway with us?
Sure. Again, thanks for everyone that's joining, as well as possibly seeing this in the future. So yeah, I had a lot of coming up as a teenager, a lot of odds and end jobs, anywhere from paper routes to the natural restaurant type businesses. Then it kind of got serious when I went to Cheney Tech. Took on a technical trade, joined a carpentry class. From there, I actually wanted to become a CNA. I seen my mom pretty much struggle. When she was younger, she was looking to get a license, and she never passed that. And it kind of made me think about not giving up, and wanted to be able to show her, hey, I'm going to join this. I'm going to do it. So I ended up getting my license to be a CNA. I took that path for a little while. And then as I got a little older, it wasn't for me. And I actually moved on from there to a landscape company. I really liked working outdoors. So I worked with a company for a few years until I wanted to actually break out and start my own landscape company. Again, I like being outdoors. I like making people's properties look a certain way, and I ventured out and bought my own equipment and started my own company. That went well for a few amount of years until we hit a kind of a crisis, I call it back then. I think there was a nor'easter, blizzard, a lot of craziness happening. And equipment breaking down, things like that. It was a tough business. Searching, making sure you're getting paid by your clients, things like that. I actually had a friend of mine that showed me a different career path. He always knew that I could do well with sales and marketing, and he actually had me come aboard to learn telecom business. I wasn't too sure. I didn't really understand it, but I did notice that technology obviously was a kind of a new wave. So I worked with a company for a while. Guys probably heard of it, DirecTV, AT&T. So I was working along doing sales and marketing with them until a day that I felt that I wanted to push this thing a little further. And we actually went right to the client and got our own dealership. So we became a partner with TaylorMade Communications and a lot of different vendors, including Fortune 9 company AT&T.
That's excellent. That's very, very, very awesome. So what are some of the things that you have identified as some of your success habits that have allowed you to get to where you are today?
Yes, perfect. So again, kind of going back to referencing, my mother, very passionate lady, and it kind of hurt me growing up that she didn't fulfill her. I feel like she wanted her dream job was in healthcare to help out others. So I refused to myself to never give up. Playing basketball, being on a cross country team, I just always wanted to be the best. And even the jobs that I had from the younger years, I just wanted to be the best at that particular job. So my success habits is definitely not giving up, always looking for ways to improve. Never reinvent the entire wheel, from learning from others. Never just trying to take and go and change the entire course, but learn from either positive or, negative results. I call it success leaves clues. Another one, I'm passionate about listening to podcasts or reading, always evolving. And another success habit is just trying to stay fit and working out, especially in these days of times. Lastly, just being around a circle of influence. Again, success leaves clues. So if you're around other successful mentors, teachers, you're gonna learn from there. So I would say stay inside your circle of influence. And I also like to pray and worship. And so, praise to God on that as well.
Excellent. So over any career, obviously, in addition to the successes you have, there's also times that we all find that we've made mistakes. How have you found that either in a particular mistake or mistakes in general have helped you to become more successful?
Yes, this was a hard one. I was, looking through, and but it started, I started seeing some of the mistakes that I did make. First and foremost, not really planning financially, especially, when I went to school. It didn't seem like there was a lot of talking about, financial future. You're young, you could jump out of a tree and not worry about getting hurt. You're not really looking at kind of a career path. So definitely not planning financially for the future, which hurt me in a few of the businesses that I had, like the landscaping, some of the home improvement types jobs that I had. So really not financially looking at the long-term aspect of that. Also not investing into home ownership. I felt was a bad one for us. Now, us being homeowners it's great, but I wish we'd have done it a lot sooner. So I would definitely encourage, it's not for everyone, but home ownership and kind of learning that type of ecosystem as well. Definitely, look into it, along with investments, looking more into long-term investments, risks, things like that. And the last one, a mistake that I felt I made when I said I always wanted to be great at everything that I did. I never really took my passion of basketball. Remember going to Cheney Tech, and I was a great player. I was on the short side, and I kind of was like, I don't know if I'm going to go to college. And remember, talking to some of the coaches that said, hey, at least go to community college, and then you can always transfer out of there. I never took that advice. So that was a mistake that I believe that if I can encourage anybody to, completely shoot all the way.
Awesome. So now as a CEO, head of a company, what does it take to be a good leader in your viewpoint?
Sorry, I just got a few notes. Sometimes it comes across the head, and sometimes I read a few notes here. So training, I really believe that training, and I go a little step further with training. I call it correctly training. I believe there's different ways to train, and I always say a correct path is important, and not just kind of, hey, read this or do this. Is actually, fundamental, complete training. Motivation, I believe, to be a good leader is being inspirational, helping others, evolving in their career. I also like to teach a little differently, especially in nowadays. I like to blend old school with new school technology. So we're fortunate enough that we have people in our position that are strong in key points of our business. So we're in a technology business, but I still believe in the old school of face-to-face. I call it hand-to-hand, direct relationships. People are adjusting, and especially in these times, are still calling out for that. I feel like we're missing a little of that. So we like blending both of those together. Also listening. So listening to your employees, or even listening to your customers, your business, right? You got to listen to what they're saying. They're gonna teach you some valuable information. So attentively listening, respect. Respect is crucial. Respecting the differences on some other beliefs, even if you're the owner, you still want to hear some feedback where you can maneuver.
I agree. Absolutely. I think those are all great points. What about, do you think some of the challenges, you've mentioned a few challenges that this next generation will face as they enter into the professional careers?
Yeah, definitely. I actually did an in-person JI with you guys at one of the local local high school, and we were doing some like financial stuff with them, and it just seemed like they were missing parts of that, just like the hands-on, like counting money nowadays, not knowing the difference from credit and debit. So things like that. So I even see it with my own children. Like they want to return something, they don't really know how to kind of go out about that. So I really believe in the trades. For instance, when I went to Cheney Tech, carpentry, plumbing, electrical, these are still in high demand, and I feel the future is kind of missing that the tradesman and the trades lady type industry. I really believe that's going to be an important impact if people don't join that. I also believe on. I think the other young lady earlier was talking about relying so much on social media. Nowadays, people just press Google or just log in and they believe everything they see without really researching for themselves. So relying too heavily on social media and kind of doing what everybody else is doing, kind of just, hey, that's what it is, and not really doing their due diligence on their own research. I feel that the social media part could definitely, there's some great, obviously, avenues there, but there's also some not.
Absolutely. So last question, if you can go back and do it all over again, what advice would you give your 16-year-old self knowing what you know now?
Yeah, other than that basketball, really pursuing that, and trying to be the best at it, and try to make a career all the way to the NBA. I have a backup plan. Definitely have a backup plan, and let's see here. So we're on. What was the question? I'm sorry, Justin.
What advice would you give your 16-year-old self, if knowing what you know now?
Yeah, just having a backup, a backup career choice, learning learning how to save, then just readily just go out and quickly spend. Yeah, and just never give up. Just finish what you started, and not easily just switch.
Awesome. That's great. Well, thank you so much, Mike, for your time. I really appreciate the insight that you gave us. And with that, we'll wrap that 15